My name is Esperanza Soriano-McCrary. I'm the Parent Engagement Specialist for the Clarksville-Montgomery County School System. And on this episode of Engage TV, I'm joined by Ms. Chiquita Jackson, Student Access Coordinator for CMCSS. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start off with explaining to parents what Section 504 actually is.
Yes, absolutely. So the American with Disabilities Act was written to protect individuals with disabilities. Section 504 of that law protects students within schools. A 504 plan helps to ensure that students with disabilities have equal access to their education. It helps ensure they have a free, appropriate public education, what we call a FAPE. So a 504 plan in place would help to level the playing field for that student, and it may also include accommodations for that student.
So just to give parents an understanding, what does leveling the playing field mean, or providing an accommodation?
So let's say a student has migraines, for example, and they get migraines throughout the day frequently. That student may be allowed to take a test in a quiet room, somewhere where they're free of distractions. So that would be an accommodation for that student that pertains directly to their disability.
Would any disability qualify for an accommodation?
The disability has to substantially limit the student. For example, if a student has allergies, I have allergies myself. If they just have seasonal allergies, they may not need a 504 plan. They may have to occasionally take some allergy medicine or may occasionally have sniffles. But if we have a student that has allergies, a peanut allergy that goes into anaphylactic shock when they're around anything with nuts in it, then that student may need a plan to ensure that things are set in place to protect that student from possibly having a severe allergic reaction.
So if a parent has some sort of suspicion, that their child may need some sort of assistance or something of that nature, what are their next steps?
So they'll reach out to the 504 building coordinator in their child's school. So each school here in Clarksville-Montgomery County has its own 504 coordinator. So if a parent is not familiar with the coordinator, they can reach out to the school and they'll know. So the coordinator will give them a referral packet that will have a bunch of questions for the parent to answer that will help the 504 team look at whether the student is eligible for the 504 plan. So they'll ask questions pertaining to the disability, how it impacts the student, what it looks like for the student in the classroom. Two big things with the 504, for a student to be eligible, the student must have a medical or physical impairment, and that impairment must substantially limit them in a major life activity, which could include walking, thinking, concentrating, a number of things. So the team will gather evidence from the parent, from doctors, from teachers, and other staff knowledgeable about the student, and that team will get together and make a decision on eligibility for a 504. So during the 504 eligibility meeting, they will determine whether the student is eligible for a 504 plan. If the student is found eligible, then they will work on accommodations for that student to put in place. If the student is not found eligible, then they can also look at other supports they can put in place for that student within the building.
What are some misconceptions that parents have about the Section 504?
I know one of the big ones is that doctors can prescribe a 504 plan. That's a big no-no. They can definitely provide helpful input for the 504 team to review. But again, ultimately that decision is the 504 team's decision, and that's a piece of evidence that the team will look at together. It's definitely helpful to have information from a physician. Recommendations are certainly helpful, but ultimately the team decides on those accommodations best for that student within the building.
So what are 3 tips that we can share with parents about the Section 504 plan?
Number 1, definitely reach out to the 504 coordinator. If you have concerns and your student has a medical impairment or physical impairment and you really feel that it's affecting your student's education, reach out to the 504 coordinator and get some input on some next steps. Number 2, if your student is currently on a 504 plan and you're having concerns, again, address those with the 504 team, 504 coordinator. Please don't ever feel like you have to kind of be on your own if something's not working. The 504 team can meet anytime and help your student. Number 3, utilize the team whenever you need them. Every building, like I said, has a 504 coordinator and there's a team associated with that. So every decision is made with the team. So if you're having concerns, again, meeting with that team, meeting with the teachers, maybe one-on-one on techniques that you can use, just knowing that you're not alone.
That's awesome. I think parents would appreciate knowing that there is a team.
Yes.
There is support.
Absolutely.
Right? Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining me on this episode of Engage TV. If you have further questions, contact your school 504 coordinator.